Welcome, Bryte Church, to another devotional. Let's read Psalm 27 today. Psalm 27. This is a psalm about fearless trust in God. I'll read the entire psalm and then take note of something very important at the end. So it says here, "The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? The Lord is the defense of my life. Whom shall I dread? When evildoers came upon me to devour my flesh, my adversaries and my enemies, they stumble and fell. Though a host encamp against me, my heart will not fear. Though war arise against me, in spite of this I shall be confident. One thing I have asked from the Lord that I shall seek, that I may dwell in the house of the Lord all the days of my life, and to behold the beauty of the Lord, and to meditate in his temple. For in the day of trouble he will conceal me in his tabernacle. In the secret place of his tent he will hide me. He will lift me up on a rock, and now my head will be lifted up above my enemies around me. And I will offer in his tent sacrifices with shouts of joy. I will sing, yes, I will sing praises to the Lord. Hear, O Lord, when I cry with my voice, and be gracious to me and answer me. When you said, 'Seek my face,' my heart said to you, 'Your face, O Lord, I shall seek.' Do not hide your face from me. Do not turn your servant away in anger. Do not turn your servant away in anger. You have been my help. Do not abandon me nor forsake me, O God of my salvation. For my father and my mother have forsaken me, but the Lord will take me up. Teach me your way, O Lord, and lead me in a level path because of my foes. Do not deliver me over to the desire of my adversaries, for false witnesses have risen against me, and such as breathe out violence. I would have despaired unless I had believed that I would see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. Wait for the Lord. Be strong and let your heart take courage. Yes, wait for the Lord." This psalm David wrote, and he had to do a lot of waiting. There were times when he had to wait out what Saul was planning, when his son was planning things against him. There was a lot of times when David had to wait. And reading over this psalm, I thought about situations when we take situations in our own hands and just make decisions. Similar to how Saul made a decision, and that just put a huge X on his kingship and his standing before God. And we do things like this when we need to make a decision too fast and we don't wait on God. And there's fear of missing out, fear of missing out on an investment, fear of missing out on a relationship, fear of missing out on a lot of different situations, fear of missing out on vengeance. There are times when we need to wait and let God take care of the situation. Whether it's a promotion at your work, you're thinking, look, if I can just show myself, they'll give me that promotion. And you have this conversation with God and you don't hear from him. The very most important thing to do is wait. Isn't it really important? Isn't it really important to hear from God? Now that's a separate question. How do you know that your heart's impressions are not coming from the burrito you ate last night or something else, right? That's a separate question. How do I hear from God? But the idea that I'm trying to get across from Psalm 27 that I understand is that David is calling for us to wait on the Lord as he did. And there are a lot of times when somebody wrongs us and we think, I'm going to carefully but meticulously plan how to get that person back, or I'm just going to ignore this person. And there's different ways that we maybe take vengeance. I'll give you an illustration about how the learning process is going through with my two kids. David is older, Eliana is younger, and Eliana is learning how to share. And so when David is playing with something and Eliana comes and takes something away, I'm teaching David, look, just wait until I get there. Don't rip it back out of her hands. Wait until I get here, and then we'll figure out what's happening and we'll have a conversation. And sometimes he listens. He waits. He says, "Dad." He calls out and he waits. And sometimes he just rips it back out, and there's a learning process there. And then there's crying, and we have to deal with this. Now, when I come into the situation, I have wisdom, some wisdom to how to deal with this situation. But think about the wisdom that God has on how to deal with your situation, whatever it is. If we can just wait on God, He will fix the situation. He fixed it in David's life. He fixed it over and over again in David's life. And David learned how to wait on God. It's an amazing thing, but it's hard. And so I encourage you to think about, what are those situations that you're going through right now where you need to just stop, be quiet, listen to God, and wait on Him. Be blessed.